So, welcome back. Now we're going to be looking at how adding a substance to water will affect its density. We're going to add salt, sodium chloride. All right, our first step mass a clean, dry beaker. And record it. Make sure you zero the balance first. Step 2 says to place an empty boat on the balance and zero it out. Okay, so we have boats. Zero it out or tare it and add about 2 grams of sodium chloride. Okay, does it have to be 2? No, as long as you write down how much you have. So if you have 2.11, great. If you have 1.97, great. Somewhere in that area, all right? So mass out about 2 grams and record. Step 3, your graduated cylinder, our old friend, we're going to fill him up to the 100.0 line with distilled water. Okay, we get the distilled water from the big cask up at the front of the room. Okay, you'll have wash bottles that are out at the lab stations. Mrs. Eiderick will help you get that going. If you're not first hour, you may not have to do that because it may already be done for you. But you may have a lab that didn't used it all up. So as you need water, you just get more from the front. All right, so you're going to fill it up to the 100 milliliter mark. We want the bottom of the meniscus on 100. Now, this is hard to do. This wash bottles have, like, I don't know what you would call them, like dropper, kind of like dropper, eyedroppers on the end. So you can add small amounts, but if you need a pipette, we've got pipettes, you can use a pipette to either add a little more water, or take a little away, and that is how we will get that to exactly 100.0 milliliters. Okay. Pour the distilled water into the beaker with salt. All right, so we're going to take our beaker from step 1 here. Our beaker from step 1. We're going to take our salt from step 2, and then we're going to pour our liquid in there, and we'll stir it with a stirring rod. Okay? Mass the beaker with your salt water in it. So now step 5, we're going to take that beaker that has the salt water and find its mass and record. Calculate the mass of the salt by finding the difference between the saltwater beaker and the empty beaker. Set the beaker aside and measure out 2 additional grams. All right, so 6 is calculations. 7, we're going to have our boat should be brown, but oh well. So you're going to add that into your beaker, which we changed to a green color. And now you're going to have 4 grams of salt. And that then will find the mass of that. So each time you're just adding 2 grams. Instead of doing 2 grams and dumping it and 4 grams and dumping it, we're just going to add a little each time. Okay? Set the beaker aside and measure out 2 additional grams. Add the measured salt to the beaker from step 6. Repeat 7 and 8 each time, adding about 2 grams. So your total for each measured amount, you should have about 2 grams, 4 grams, 6 grams, 8 grams, and 10 grams of salt. But you're only adding 2 at a time, right? Okay. Calculate the density of each saltwater solution and record that information in your data table. So we can look here, and it's going to have all our drawings on it. Get rid of those. This will be the empty graduate. Here's the mass of the salt. Here's the 2 added together. Mass of the salt water and the density of the salt water, so on and so forth. Now, these 6 or 5 values aren't going to be exactly the same, and that's okay. All right? Just be careful. If you spill, if you think you've made a mistake, fix it. It's not a big deal. All right. Thank you very much.